I'm so happy to talk to you.
Hi, Mira.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good. So, thank you for coming over and sitting down and having a conversation. So, the first thing I want to ask you is, do you remember when we met?
Yes, I do. It was a few weeks ago. We were at the Huddle Chamber of Commerce at a speed networking event. So that was the first time we met.
Okay, so this is interesting to me because during the speed networking, we really only had 3 minutes to talk to one another. We had a very
If that.
if that.
I don't even know if it was a full 3 minutes.
I agree. I don't know if it was full 3 minutes either. And in the we'll say 2 minutes and 30 seconds that we had enough time to connect in such a way to realize, oh snap, for me, I want to talk to him. Like I want to hear more. And then also your energy as well was very much so like receptive as I told you about what I'm doing in my business and talking about Jaime. So I'm really excited about this. So it was definitely a pleasure meeting you. So my second question is, since I've only known you for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, who are you?
Who am I? That's a loaded question.
Is it?
It is. How can you define one person? Who are you, right? It depends on what environment I'm in, what role am I playing. At the core of who I am a disciple of Christ. And then I play many roles, right? So I think I filter everything through the lens of a believer of Christ. And the roles that I play also contribute to that. So as a black man, as a husband, as a father of 3 beautiful girls, like all that plays into who I am. So when I look in the mirror, I see all of those things in a very dynamic way. I'm also an entrepreneur, so it's a loaded question. So it depends on who I'm talking to, what role I need to play in that sense, because all of it is me. I'm not pretending in one environment and being someone that I'm not in a different environment. I'm being who I am, but I'm playing the role that is most needed in that moment.
Okay. I like the answer. And I think that's fair too because I feel like there's I always say you have to have a certain decorum wherever you are. So for myself, I am me no matter where I am, but you'll get a different level of me depending upon the environment. So I totally see that. So my next question I'll ask is, how did you get to this point, this pose? I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a believer of Christ, I'm an entrepreneur. How did we get here?
Another interesting question. Oh my goodness. I think it's just living life, right? Asking yourself internally, who do you want to be, right? From as far as I can remember, even in childhood, I always wanted to have a big happy family. So I always wanted to be a father. I always wanted to be a husband. But I knew I didn't want to be a father outside of being a husband. So for me, the two come synonymous. And I know in life that doesn't always happen for other people, but for me that was huge because that impacted the way I did things. I never wanted a blended family, even though I came from a blended family. So that impacted who I was. I was raised in the church, and my brothers were raised in the church, and I saw how when they kind of did their own thing outside of the church, I looked at their lives. I'm the youngest, so I had the opportunity to learn from their mistakes and even their guidance. And so at the end of the day, when I sit down by myself, because I like to do that a lot, sit down by myself, no noise, no TV, no distraction, no phone, and just reflect on the day. And at the end of the day, it always comes back to, I'm a believer in Christ, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a black male, which I can't get away from. So, I mean, all those things play a part, and I dissect the day in my life based on what happened. And it's always those different filters that play through. Was I the best Christian I can be? Was I the best husband I can be today? Was I the best father I can be today? Was I the best entrepreneur I was today? You know, so all that stuff plays a role. I was the best son, brother, etc., friend. Like all that stuff plays a huge toll on me. And I literally, you can ask anybody that knows me, I actually sit down at the end of the day and think about how my day was.
I love that. Wow. So that suggests something else too. Because in order for you to be able to reflect on your day and see yourself, it suggests that you're present in every moment that it's happening to be able to go back and look.
Yes and no.
Okay.
The reason I say that because a lot of times I am present, but I'm so goal oriented, right? So being goal oriented and I am a very efficient person. I don't like to waste time.
Okay.
So with all that being said, for me, I may be in a moment like now, right? But I can be totally engaged in this, and my mind is constantly churning. All right, what's next? You know, after this, what am I doing next? And I don't know how I do it. It's just I
Decompartmentalize.
Thank you. I can't say the word. Things, and it's just always churning, and I can't turn it off. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay, so now that makes me ask a different question because if you're here and then you're also thinking about what's going to happen next, are you really fully here in this moment?
I don't know. That's why I say yes and no. So I have to, and my wife does a great job at kind of reeling me in, saying, "Hey, are you here with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here with you. What happened?" So I can literally tell you exactly what's happening all in this moment, but I guess sometimes I don't stop to enjoy the moment. So now with young girls, I am trying to retrain myself to actually enjoy the moment more so than just stay in the moment. I don't want to just stay in the moment. I want to enjoy the moment. I want to feel whatever that moment is, and I have to train myself. So that's one of the questions I ask myself. Like, how did you do today with being in the moment, staying in the moment, right? Like, did you fully embrace that moment today? So if I'm reading, doing homework with my youngest, and my mind is listening to my two oldest talk, like, am I enjoying the moment of doing homework? And sometimes I'm very successful, and sometimes I'm not. Like, and that's just a small example on a small scale, but like, I'm trying to retrain myself to enjoy the moment and not necessarily stay in the moment, but enjoy the moment.
That's something, and I would say even with my husband, we have to work on that. And me asking that question, are you here right now? And for me, I have an awareness of I'm here right now in this moment because I believe it is such a gift to be here right now in this moment. And I never want to take anything for granted because, oh my goodness, my life, right? You work so hard, you do so much to get to a certain point. And I feel like sometimes we are always focused on the next goal or the next post that can we sit back and just enjoy that we made it to this point? Because I remember a time when, this was a dream and we're living it. So,
it's interesting that you say that because that's what I'm working on. Like, that is the thing that I'm working on from a self-development standpoint. I remember having a conversation with one of my good friends who passed away. And he was just chasing his dream. And I'm a big advocate of people chasing their dream. Whatever that dream is, like, I applaud people who are chasing their dreams. And he was chasing his dream of being a professional chef. And he was doing it on TV, etc. And I sat back and I was telling him, I said, I'm so proud of you. Because we were college roommates, we went to high school together. I said, I'm so proud of you. You're actually living your dream. Everything we talked about from when we were in our college apartment and even in high school, you're actually doing it. And he said, you're living yours too. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm working in corporate America. This is not the end all be all for me. He said, as long as I know you, Collies, you always said that you wanted a family. Your dream was a family. You want a wife and you want kids, and you are living that dream. And I had to sit back and reflect on that. And when we hung up the phone, I just sat on my couch in the living room. I said, man, God, I am living my dream. I'm thankful being from the south side of Chicago, raising a single parent home, and to be where I am with a wife, 3 girls, 14 years into marriage, happily married. Like, to me, I had to sit back and reflect and like, I am living my dream. Everything else is just nice to have. But the core of me, I'm a family man and I am living my dream. So my friend had to help me to realize that. Like I said, along the way, I'm always looking for the next thing. Like, I'm so goal oriented. It's like, all right, here's the goal. If there's 5 things that we need to accomplish, all right, 1, 2 is checked off. Now what about 3, 4, 5? And I don't stop to celebrate the small wins or even the big wins.
Mm. Well, gosh, kudos to your friend for helping you see that. That is a thing to keep as well, and such a lesson.
It is.
Knowing that he's not here any longer. Because I have the awareness that tomorrow is not promised.
It's not.
It's really not. And for me, I really can't stress about what's going to happen 10 years from now. Because I don't know what is going to happen. But I know that if I'm my best self today, and I'm doing everything that I can to be the best Maya today, I'm pretty sure 10 years from now, I'm going to be all right. Because I have the discipline in my everyday walk. And I have a trust, because I have this faith, that tells me certain things are promised. And I believe it. So if I believe that, and I believe me, and I know what I'm doing, then I trust I'll be okay. Because I know I have someone else working on my behalf.
I love it. I mean, I love it, but I'm just being honest. Like, we're talking about high mirror, right? That's my high mirror. It's like, hey, I struggle with not always thinking, like stopping and enjoying the moment. I'm getting better at it, but I'm not there yet. Like, I'm always looking at what's next.
Day by day, I will say with that, because I haven't always had this mentality at all. By any means, if anything, I was always so stressed about what am I doing? Who am I? And feeling like I'm not who I'm supposed to be. Like, there's so much more that I'm supposed to be doing, and filled with so much anxiety and doubt, because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I had this lost mentality, like I'm searching for something and I don't know what it is. And that's not a fun way to live either. So no. Even in the midst of the good that's going on, this isn't right. I should be doing something. I can't even focus because I'm searching. I'm searching. So when I was fortunately, life grounded me in such a way that I realized, oh man, I'm not in control. So 2020 COVID, that was a beginning of a new world for me in understanding you can do everything that you think you're supposed to do. You can be on this amazing track, right? And then boom, the world can shut down. And then what do you do? If the goal is this job and this career and you lose it, you don't have it anymore, then who are you? What are you doing? If people are dying and you have this fear of, oh my God, does it matter because I'm going to die tomorrow? Because So that time period for me was truly an unlearning of things, of who I was at that time, all of the things that I did not want to be, and realizing it's okay. It's okay that you don't know, but you got up this morning because there was so much death around. There were so many people dying. Mm-hmm. It puts it in perspective. And at the time I was working in corporate, and I was in a new position where I was answering phones. I was talking to employees and dealing with benefits. Hearing people's stories, hearing people call to say, I need to call and report a life, a birth. And then I also need to report a death.
Wow.
My child's here, but my partner's gone. That was a moment for me. Because I'm just la 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 typing. I'm in my own world, thinking life is just so bleak and grim. And this person is calling to tell me this happened in their life, and what are my next steps? What am I to do? And I'm to guide this person right now to say, hey, look, this is what it looks like. And it's just, whoa, what are you really worrying about right now? Because it could be worse.
It could.
And that was the lesson that I had to learn, which is it could be so much worse. So how about we just work on being grateful for where we are right now and seeing what we have right now, because you could lose someone that you love tomorrow. So it definitely also gave me this understanding of I have to appreciate the people who are in my life. I have to.
I like that.
Oh, well, thank you. Like, for me, even in friendships, because also during that time, my husband and I moved from Seattle to Austin. So I thought all of these amazing connections that I've made, right? They're gone. You know, I'm thinking like high school, it was great while we're here, but we're not going to keep this. And they would not let go of me. It was so strange. I'm done now. Like, I'm going to go to another role, but they wouldn't let go of me. And in that season, we cultivated such deeper relationships in a way that I hadn't in my adult life had before. And that gave me a new perspective in friendship and how much of a gift it is, especially as we get older, to keep you. Because now I have people who have bared witness. They've known me when I didn't know what I was doing. I was just lost in this little life. And then they've been able to witness me grow and ascend, and now doing something that they all championed me to do for years. My husband bought these microphones, oh my goodness, maybe 6 years ago. Wow. And I just opened them earlier this year. So having the support and knowing how fortunate I am to have that, because again, during COVID, there were people who were lonely, who had no one. So
that's interesting. You said so much. I'm like, I feel like interviewing you now. I'm like, I have a bunch of questions, but it was one of the words you used, seasons. I'm a big fan of that word, of seasons. I believe in that word so much. I just believe everything has a season. Whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships, whether it's jobs, everything has a season. I have a close-knit set of friends that I've had since high school. Actually, my best friend, outside my wife, I've known since we were in the 7th grade.
Wow.
And it's funny because how we actually end up becoming friends is he was in the line next to me to my left, and I was in the line right behind him, and he had a Cubs hat on. And we're from the south side of Chicago. That's Chicago White Sox territory. So for him to be on the south side of Chicago with a Chicago Cubs hat on, and I was a Cubs fan. I said, hey, you're a Cubs fan? Because it's probably like 4 of us out there that's Cubs fan on the south side of Chicago. It's just something you just don't do, right? And we sparked that friendship from that one conversation. And we've been together for, 20 plus years. He's the best man at my wedding. I was the best man at his wedding. Godfather to his children. So, I mean, it's like all that stuff, but I just believe seasons. It's like, and because I believe in seasons, I'm like, there's certain people that's in your life, whether it's for a minute, an hour, a day, a year, month, years, or a lifetime. Like, I believe in that. So when people come, when it used to bother me, because I love hard, right? Like, once you get into that circle, you're in that circle forever, right? But for me, I think early on, God taught me about seasons. So I learned how to let people go when I need to let them go. Our season is over with. And it's not to say we won't have a new season down the line, but it's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. So I'm okay with change, so maybe that helps me to be in a moment and recognize the moment, but also okay with when that moment is over, or it's time to do something different. So I'm good with change, But it's like consistency, whatever that consistency is. Like if we're bad, we're bad. Like I'm good with that. If we're good, we're good. I just don't like we're good today and we're bad tomorrow. Like I don't do that. Like that type of chaos, I try to stay away from. But sometimes it comes to your life and you have to. This is my season for that, right? So I think the season now that I'm in is learning how to be uncomfortable. And I think we talked about that, and it's like I'm in the season of learning how to be uncomfortable because in my previous season I was too comfortable, but I was discontent with where I was in life, and that sparked why I'm an entrepreneur no longer in corporate America. So I love that word season that you used. Like it's awesome, and how your friends won't let you go, because that's the sign of true friendship. It's not how much time you spend together, but the quality of time that you spend.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you love seasons. So, and I will say when you said, you know that people can be in your life and you also are able to let them go. That is something that I struggled with so much. So in the same way that you say you love hard, I loved hard too. And I did not like letting people in because I knew if you're in here, you're gonna be in here. So, oh my goodness, let me tell you my truth. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would do to protect me is I would grieve you. I grieve you. You would be here. And I would tell myself, okay, look, you're going to have to let this person go. So let me grieve. And it would be painful because in my mind, you no longer exist. Like, I have to grieve you. And with this set of friends, I would try so hard to grieve them. And it wouldn't work. Like I'm trying, like I'm doing everything that I once did to protect me, and I'm gone, they don't exist anymore. I would tell them, don't call me, like it's okay. Like I really would give that energy, and I am so grateful to them because I call them my council of iron. They have helped sharpen me in such a way. We sharpen one another. Like
I love that.
The council of good, because there's so much good amongst us all, like immense. But learning that I had to be vulnerable. That was difficult. That was so difficult. And learning that I was valuable enough that people wanted to be in my life, because it's two things. Like, why are you pushing people far away? If you know you're amazing, right? Wouldn't people want to be around you? So it was also me having this awareness of what's going on with me that I don't think that I can have this good. Why am I pushing so much good away? Because that's all it ever was. Why don't I want to keep this? Even if it is just on the phone, it's still good. So having the opportunity to unlearn that behavior and let people love me and love as passionately as I do, because I'll tell you, my friends get a kick out of me because I am so excited to be on the phone with them. I am so excited. And I will always, like, I'll send a text, can I know you today? To know you. Like, I get a moment to know you. How special am I that I get to have some of your time and we get to sit and be present in this moment. I had to learn that. I didn't always have that. But now that I have it, I never lose it. So even meeting you, just having that brief moment of connection, what a gift that was. And even now you sitting here, wow.
Yeah.
And I don't get here. I don't have this moment without doing that work. So I'm excited for your season.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I stay being here in Texas. One thing I don't like, I miss seasons.
Really?
Being in Washington, the leaves changed. The leaves will fall. The sky would be gray. And then you might get snow, you might not. And then you'll get spring. And it'll start to warm up. And you'll start hearing birds chirp. And you'll start seeing the cherry blossoms on trees. And then summer will come and it'll be warm and hot. And all of these activities that you can now do because you're in a new season. And you're also able to track, whoa, when it was dark and cloudy, I was here. But oh my goodness, I know where I am now because the trees are telling me. I remember going into my office building and I would watch the tree and I would see the tree, and then I would remember, man, when I started, the tree looked like this, and now look at the tree, and then look at me. And I'll say being here, I think sometimes for myself, it's it's easier to forget that time is moving and seasons are changing because it's not being tracked. I'm not really witnessing the change as much. So even the growth in me sometimes, I'm like, well, wait, am I missing it? Am I not seeing me just because I'm not seeing like the leaves changing outside? But no, I'm still growing. Yeah. It's still happening. Like,
that's interesting. I like that. I like different perspectives, right? I'm very strong-willed, and my friends will tell you. They may say I'm stubborn, but I
you're don't stubborn. Agree with you're stubborn.
I'm strong-willed. I like that, and I like the perspective because as you were talking, I was like, oh, I can see each season changing because I'm from Chicago, and same thing. You have the 4 seasons. Winter is longer than everything else, but you have the 4 seasons. And as you was talking, I was just like appreciating your description of everything and how you just like lit up talking about the season. And the other part of my mind, I told you, I'm always like, man, like I don't miss that at all. Like I like it hot. Like I like it hot, but again, I said I like consistency, right?
Yes.
I like it hot. I don't care how hot it gets. I like it hot. Let's just be consistent. But then as you were talking, and I'm like, man, I'm thinking about all the details when you're describing the leaves, when you're going inside the office buildings. I'm also thinking about like, man, like I noticed, like when you said you don't really notice like the time change because you're here in Texas and it's like everything's like hot. It's just hot, right? There's no, it's fall. I'm thinking like, I noticed the little details about things. And what reason why that came top of mind, because my wife and I were literally having this conversation this morning when we were doing a devotion, and she was talking about like, hey, what are your stressors? And I just gave her a big bucket of the things that I think about every single day is being a provider, being a protector. That's it. How I get there, I don't care because I'm not focused on the details, in the sense of it can come this way or it can come that way. Like, but as long as it comes, I'm good at that. But so as you was describing all those changes, I was just reflecting on that and then listening to you. It's like, man, she's lighting up about the changes in the seasons and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't miss that. I just like it hot. Like, so it's just interesting to see the perspective and just like looking at my perspective, then looking at your perspective. I'm just like, that's cool. I like that. Like, just being around different people who think differently or see things differently, it to me, it energizes me. Right. So sorry, I rambled.
No, you didn't ramble. No, I love that. And one thing that I will say, for me is because I have various different friends, like all walks of life, and I have a husband who is the most illogical. Look, is this or is this? Like the whole seasons thing, I can't talk to him about seasons, okay? I can't talk about seasons. I can't say, I trust that won't be, I need to see actual, logical, factual things that tells me we will be okay because you're just ambiguous belief that it's all going to work out. That doesn't work for my house, okay? That doesn't work inside of me.
Yeah.
But I appreciate people who are just receptive of, I see it differently. We're not supposed to see it all the same.
No.
We're really not. But I appreciate a new perspective. I appreciate something different. I really, really do. And I have a friend who, how do I say this? So they said they didn't have faith. Okay. But they wore a cross around their neck every day. Because their mother brought them the cross. So that's why they had the cross around their neck. And one day we were going to a friend's birthday party and we left work together. So we're driving on the highway and they're driving and we see an accident. And I said, oh my God. And they said, damn. And they keep driving along. And I said, you say you don't believe in God and you're like not down with all of that. But I said, but you just prayed for those people. And he said, damn. And he was like, what? And I said, you just prayed for them. I said, you just sent them some energy, some goodness. And I said, and that's enough for me. I said, you don't have to believe the way that I believe, but I know that there's good in you. And I see that part. And I know our lights are attracted to one another for a reason. So in that, I know that there's something, whether you choose to say that or not, whether you identify it in the way that I like to go to church every now and again, or I want to listen to gospel music, or I want to get down on my knees and pray. That's what serves me. That's our connection. But it's okay that that's not what you subscribe to. But when you think of thoughts, to me, of praying, I think that's what it is. It's the simplest form. You're believing good for someone else.
It's interesting when people say I don't have faith. Everyone has faith. They do. It may not be the same faith that you believe in, but for the simplest fact of, if you sit down in a chair, you have faith that chair is going to hold you.
Mm.
He driving that car, he believes that car is going to get him from point A to B. He has faith that when he turns that car on, it's going to start. When he pushes the pedal, it's going to go. That's faith. In the elementary form of it, that is faith. Now, what you choose to put your faith in, that's a different question altogether. But I have a hard time believing that a person doesn't have faith. Everyone has faith. Now, what you have faith in, that's different.
That's different. Yeah.
That's different. But we all have faith in something. You have faith in whatever you want to believe in, from a religious standpoint or a spiritual standpoint to a natural standpoint. Like I never met a person that didn't have faith in something. Have you?
You know, I have, and I thought how sad your life must be.
But did they not have faith in anything? Like they didn't believe that they can sit?
I can't. I mean, that part, but they didn't believe that there was more.
Like a spiritual.
Yeah, like a spiritual. Like,
I mean, I can agree with that.
Like they can't believe that there's more. And I mean, that's a good perspective to say. But I mean, you know, this chair is going to hold you, right? But I think the counter to that would be, well, that's because it was done and someone put it together, which suggests that it's going to hold me because...
But that person didn't see that person put it together. They just see the evidence of it, which is...
Oh, no, see? Okay.
I'm fine.
No, I mean,
I believe everyone is entitled to their own belief. No, they don't... I have no problems with atheists, Buddhism, whatever religion you have, whatever your spiritual belief in. I can sit down and break bread with you all day. And we can be friends. I have no problem with that. But I would challenge anybody to say, I don't have faith in something. I don't have faith. In what? In God? Okay, we could.
Now you're going to make me ask some more questions now. That's a good perspective because I didn't think, well, you got to have faith that the chair is going to hold you. That is really good. I haven't even considered it that way. I think one thing that I know sometimes as believers can be pushy, and I don't like that.
I used to be like that.
Oh my, that
But then I grew up.
Me. Oh, you grew up?
I grew up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always growing. I'm always evolving and getting better. It came to the realization of, for me, that God gave us free will. I'm not God to have to force you to do that. I can live the life that I choose to live, and you can live the life that you choose to live. When we expire from this earth, we're going to find out whether I'm right or wrong. If I was right, I got everything to gain. If I was wrong, I may miss out on some stuff, but I'm okay with that. I just don't want to be on the wrong side of the spectrum. So that is the logic that I think of when from a faith standpoint, right? Outside of everything else is just faith, right? It's just I have proof in my life of the existence of God. Or if I didn't, I would not be the person I am today. But I have tangible proof of an existing God in my life. Now, at one point it was, this is my mom and father's faith. It became their faith and their God. But at some point in my life, it became my God because I had tangible proof and tangible evidence and experience with my God. And so that's the reason why I can stand and be okay with people believing something different. Because like, all right, maybe you just didn't have the experiences that I had to say, yeah, God is real. I know he's real because there's no other explanation, but there is a spiritual being that has kept me. All right. So I grew up because as you live life and you authentically pursue God, I believe that if you're doing it genuinely, he's going to meet you wherever you're at. And that experience is going to look different for everybody.
That's good. So I have to ask a question now that you say that you were once the judgy Christian believer. So for me, one thing that was often so off-putting, which has always made me, like even hearing someone say, I don't believe, I don't have this faith. I always wanted to give this light of, that's okay, but I still see you. I still see that light in you. Faith to me, belief to me, I think is a light. I think it's the shine. I think it's just that. So as you were once the more of a condemnation believer. Can I say you were that?
I don't think that, but let's go with that.
Oh, I mean, because I'm seeing you, and you done told me a few things about you. You have a little stubbornness, right? So in believing,
Strong will.
okay, in believing that,
Yeah.
I believe that you are very true to your convictions. So,
Yes.
what did it take to break that shell of you? To change that logical mind of you of, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't give this energy to someone else.
The reason why, for me, the reason why I say I was kind of pushed back, I wasn't condemning, is because if you're not a believer, and you're living your life the way you want to live, and that's not what the Bible teaches us. I mean, as far as like my condemnness or my harshness came for believers who are not trying, we're not perfect, but there are certain things. If you are a Christian, the Bible is clear. This is what God accepts. This is what God doesn't accept. You pick. It says, choose you this day who you will serve. Pick. You don't have to be a Christian. If you don't want the standards that God set, then you don't have to live by them. Like, go do you. So that's why I said I can sit down and break bread with anybody. It was those who said I was a Christian and wasn't even trying. Like, yeah, I know the Bible says this, but I don't even care what the Bible says. I don't even want to try, but I'm still going. So then you're making us look bad. You're making other believers look bad. So that's why I said that. So, but if someone asks me, hey, if I don't believe in Jesus Christ, am I going to hell? Well, according to the Bible, yes. That's not me. That's according to the Bible. But if you reject that as the truth, then I'm okay with that. And we can still sit down. We can play sports. We can eat. We can have fun. We can have conversation. It gets me when like people talk about like, oh, and there are some condemning Christians, like everything is like, hell and brimstone, right?
Yeah.
I get that. I was never that, right?
Okay.
But to me, it dawned on me when I would say, hey, I don't engage in these activities. And people's like, oh, you think you're better than me? I never said that. I just said, I don't engage in it because this is my faith. And they were judging me. And so I said, wait a minute. You're saying I'm judging you, and I never say anything about you. I said, this is what I believe, and this is what I do. But then you got condemned. But you said, I'm condemning you. But I never once said what you're living and how you're living is wrong. I just said, hey, for Collies, I don't do A, B, C, D. And the reason why I don't do A, B, C, D is because I'm a Christian. That's my faith. And so as I grew up, I had to be comfortable with people thinking that I was condemning them. But and I read the word, that's what the word says, that the word of God says that people are going to feel condemned when they're in the light because it's the darkness. And same thing, when I meet someone who's further in their walk, and I see, I'm like, man, I feel kind of bad that and not like from a comparison standpoint, but it's like, man, I think God is telling me to do this. And I've been kind of, oh, okay, God, I think I hear you, but is that really, but yeah, that's God. Like, go ahead and do it. Like, so that's what I'm talking about. When you're in the light, it's going to expose the darkness. So for me, it's being comfortable, like I am a Christian. There's certain things I do not do. Other Christians may do that, and that's fine. I have a choice to either associate with them or not associate with them. Or if they want, we can partner together and walk, and I can learn from them. They can learn from me. But for non-Christians, I can sit with them all day and we can be good because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're living their life the way they want to live. And I'm comfortable with that. But it took me years to get comfortable with that.
Wow. Well, you see your journey, your growth. Kudos. I always, for me, the goal is always, I just want to be better today than I was yesterday. And even being able to look back and see whoa, you once believed that and you once moved that way. But oh my goodness, look at you now. And look at the impact. You don't know whose life you may have made better because you've had a mind shift and you've changed things and you have more of an openness. And I think sometimes, and I'm not a black man, but I think sometimes, just from my experiences with black men, shifting and changing can be hard because I feel like you have to be conditioned to be this. I have to be, as you said, I'm a protector, I'm a provider, I'm this, I'm a that. I gotta have control, I have to have consistency, I have to have all of these things. So to have a little shift into shape what you believe is getting you where you are to realize, wait a minute, I need to pivot a little bit. Wait a minute, I have to grow and evolve in this new way. Kudos, because not everyone can do that. Some people can be stuck.
Yeah.
And think, well, look, I'm amassing stuff, so clearly I have all the answers.
No, I don't have any answers. I just, like I said, it's embracing your life, right? I have one life to live. So I'm going to live it the best way I can in the way I see fit, right? So for me, I don't have, like I said, I don't have a problem with change or pivot. Like life is a consistency of change. So I don't struggle with that. I struggle with inconsistencies. And you can say that's kind of like oxymoron because life is always changing, but that's a consistent. Life is always changing, right? So you always have to stop and pivot. If something's not working, pivot. Like I don't believe in just, again, going back to me being efficient. If I'm doing something and it's not working, I'm going to stop and change. If you have an idea that I think is better than my idea, I have no problems with going with your idea and giving you the credit for it. I don't need credit. Like I am not one that looks for the spotlight. I'm one that wants to get the goal done. So if your idea gets us to the goal, cool. You can have all the fame, all the glory, but we both get to what we want to be.
Yeah.
So that's at least how I view it, in the sense of I'm not stuck, or I try not to be stuck.
Yeah.
I guess I was stuck because God told me it was time to be uncomfortable. So
now, this is my next question for you, because I am in a new season where I'm certain that being uncomfortable is just what it's gonna look like, and that blind faith that I so boldly have, it's gonna have to be applied in everything that I'm doing, with saying I want to do this, and I feel like this is my purpose, or I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be, like feeling like knowing I wasn't meant to be in a box. I thought I made it when I had my own office. Okay, I just knew this is it. I am here. I am no longer in a cubicle. Like, look at me. I have business cards with my name on it in the cover. Oh, I have power. And it was 2 weeks before I knew I'm not supposed to be before I heard I'm not supposed to be in a box. I was there, I'm gonna say 3 or 4 weeks before someone stopped and asked me, why are you here? You don't belong here. I made it a year. And I will say I wasn't even ready to leave at the time, because it still took me another 4 months to get behind this microphone and actually start trying. But that was scary. That was so scary. And then thinking about, okay, well, I need this to provide income too, because there's life, and I have a wonderful provider, but we still have life. So I ask you, provider, protector, what has it been like in the realm of, I'm going to listen to this voice, I'm going to be uncomfortable, I'm going to leave the safety of what I know and trust and go?
It has been the most amazing journey. As you can probably gather, I have a plan A, B, C, and D. Like I always have, I'm always thinking what's next, right? I'm always thinking contingencies, and that's why I was a great project manager, right? Like, what's the contingencies? And making really good money. My wife and I have a great life, but I was not happy. I actually got to the point where I was miserable. Not with the family side of it, but feeling stuck, I guess, right? And it took me sitting down one night and just saying, what do you want to do with your life? Because this is not it. And praying and asking God, this is not my purpose. What's up? And as life was happening, and I was actually driving up to Dallas-Fort Worth to go play in a golf tournament with my father-in-law. And I heard as clear as day, as me and you was talking, you're too comfortable. I'm kind of like, what? You're too comfortable and you're discontent and you're becoming miserable. Because you're too comfortable, you won't change, that you're not happy, and that you know you're not in the right place. but you're too comfortable. It's time for you to become uncomfortable. And for me, someone who likes to be in control, or at least have a plan.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily think I have to be in control. Probably do, but in my mind, I don't think I have to be in control, but I at least have to know where we're at, right? Like where we're going. What's the end destination? Again, I don't care if we take this path or this path, but I need to know where we're going. And I said, all right. So as I was praying and having devotion, I said, what does this look like? And it was leaving corporate America. And I said, whoa, all right, what is my wife going to think? Like, she's like, no way. So I was like, hey, I'm not happy. Like, I want to leave. She said, let's do it. See, that's why I married you, girl. See, that's why I married you, you know. And I said, you sure? I said, I don't know what this looks like. And I don't know how long I'll be unemployed. But me quitting this job and going to another job, a year from now, I'm going to be in the same position.
Yeah.
And she's like, let's do it. Like, I trust you. God got us. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, that was my biggest stress. It was like, what is my wife going to think? And then, like, all the natural stuff, like, oh, what's my father-in-law going to think, right? Like, because, like, my parents know and my father-in-law knows me, and we have a great relationship. But because we have a great relationship and because I value his opinion, like, that was a huge stressor for me. Like, oh, what is he going to think? Because my wife knows I'm not going to sit at the couch and just watch TV. Like, that's not in my DNA.
Yeah.
But it's not in my DNA to sit back and not be a provider. That's not the way I was raised. That's not what I believe. That's not anything. But God had to shake this up for me. And so I said, all right. So I quit. I gave a 2-week notice. I left corporate America at the end of the year. And most of my day was filled with just reading the Bible, praying, and seeking God. And my wife had to get to the point, like, why don't you go play golf? But I felt bad playing golf because I felt like I was a bum, like, just being honest. Yeah. And she's like, you're not even enjoying this time. So we talk about not being in the moment. Like, in the moment, that was a time for me to decompress, to enjoy life. And I took 5 months off of not working, one salary, just one salary, when we're used to living on 2. And we did not miss a beat. Never had to draw from a savings account. Both our cars broke down. When I say, like, I tried to start journaling stuff, like stuff that happened, like how did money start coming in? Like, when I say God has shown himself to me over and over in tangible ways, that's why I'm comfortable with believing what I believe, and you can believe whatever you want to believe. Yeah. And at the end of the day, when we expire from this earth, when our time ceases to be, I am 100% comfortable with my decision to live for Christ versus whatever. You got to stand before him or not if I'm wrong. So I'm comfortable with that. But I'm so uncomfortable with not having the money just roll in like it's used to. But I have so much peace because I had to come to the point where in my youth, I trust God, like, oh, tithes and offering. I had no problem giving to the church, no problem giving to charity, no problem giving to people, like just being generous with my time, with my money. Had no problem with that, and God always blessed me for that. But at some point along this faith walk, it became, and I never said it verbally, never said it mentally, but in my heart, it became, oh, I'm doing this. And I didn't recognize that until I got into this season where it's like, God always said, I have always had you colleagues, and I always will. And so even though the money is not coming in the way it is, God has always paid our bills. We're not missing stuff. We still go on trips. I have never had to transfer from our emergency fund, but God even gave me the wisdom to do that, to set up our finances in a way where if me and my wife both lost our job, we're good. But I never even had to touch that rainy day, like, because God has always just provided for us. And so, I mean, if I sit back and like I said, I started journaling and then I stopped, but it's just like, it's amazing, like how I can have so much peace. And for anyone who knows me, like, me not knowing what the next step is and what the next plan, that is scary for me. But I trust God and saying, all right, God, I'm very uncomfortable. Whatever you have me to do, if it's, I started a business, If you tell me to close the business, I'll close it. I'll lose whatever money I invested in the business, and I'll do something else. But I'm totally dependent on God now. Like, it's not on me. So that's how we got there.
That is an amazing, amazing, amazing story. Like, wow. Like, really, wow. Like, my cheeks hurt from smiling so much hearing you. Because it's one thing to listen to the voice and say, okay, I'm going to trust you. It's another thing when you have your partner who holds you. You picked the right one. Yes, you did. Like, yes, that is the answer. But to allow yourself that moment, because this is one thing, as the provider and all of those things, to allow yourself the moment of, you can breathe. Because I feel like you are always on go. And you had to have that moment of, stop, be still. Sometimes you have to be still. And as someone who just wants to keep going and going and going, thinking this, and this, I'm sure that was fun to watch. I'm sure your wife enjoyed every bit of that.
I'm gonna answer that question.
Oh my goodness!
I never answered that question because I'm a huge advocate. I would recommend anyone, even if corporate America, you love corporate America, to take a sabbatical, even if it's for a month. Like, just take a sabbatical to recharge and to just look at life. Because I used to write, and I still have the aspiration. Until it took you months to get behind this microphone. I still have the aspiration to write books. I have 4 books inside of me, and I start, and then I stop, and I'm trying to figure out, why do I keep stopping? Right? Is it the fear of, like, why would anyone want to read my book? Maybe. Is it the fear of, I don't want to go too deep inside of myself to say, all right, now I got to face some stuff I probably tucked away in the closet somewhere? I don't know, but I couldn't even write poems anymore. Like when I was in corporate, like for the last 2 or 3 years, I felt like I had no creativity. Mm-hmm. In the 5 months of my sabbatical, I feel like all my creativity came back. Like, if you want, you can give me your paper and I can write right now. Like, but before I could, I would just struggle to write. I would struggle to think. I'm a huge believer in journaling. Like, I journal my thoughts, I journal my inspiration, what I feel like God's telling me, I journal what I'm learning from the scriptures. And so, I write love letters to my daughters, like, so if anything ever happened to them, they'll know exactly how I felt about them, and so, like, but I couldn't do that. I was just in a bad place. I was miserable, and I felt like, and it actually, what struck me is when I was talking to I'm so, like, soft-spoken with my daughters. And I felt like I was just snapping on them for no reason. Like, instead of me saying, hey, can you not do that? Can you do this? Like, what I normally do is just, like, I was short-fused. And I had to stop, and I was like, why am I so short-fused? And that's what triggered everything. And I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that version of me. And I asked my wife, how do you feel? Yeah, you're a little snappy. I'm like, yeah. All right, thank you for confirming what I just realized. And so that's what started this chain reaction of, like, yeah, I'm miserable right now. I'm not happy right now.
Right. Well, you looked in the mirror and you saw you.
I did. Sometimes I don't like it.
Good job looking in the mirror. That's the first thing. And I'm so excited for you. And let me tell you, as someone who was stuck and didn't know what to do, even you sitting here right now, the insecurities that I once had about, like, who's gonna listen to me? How am I gonna even get somebody to sit down and just talk? I don't know you. I feel like I know you now in such a way, but I didn't know you at the time. We had less than 3 minutes to connect, and in 3 minutes, you're sitting here. Should I doubt me?
But I love people pursuing their dreams, and I saw it in that short, brief minute you lit up, and I think I even told you, I was like, I'm proud, like, or I applaud you for chasing your dream. Even if we fail at what we're chasing, guess what? We learn. It's an experience, and it's beautiful.
That part, and it leads us to where we're going.
Yes.
So I have enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Been such a treat. I hope, and I'm certain that in a few years, my platform will look completely different. I will be somewhere moving in such a way, and for you, I hope you come back and you have a book or two to talk about.
Anytime you want to have me, I'm happy to sit in front of the mirror and just learn. I like talking to people.
This is really good, and I definitely am looking forward to one of those books. So when you come back to the mirror, I need you to bring a book.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so I'm putting that on you, okay?
Oh, why did you do that?
I am.
All right.
I believe you. So
no promises, but
I'm championing you. You
but
said
I
it.
appreciate
You spoke it.
I
So
did,
yeah, it's coming.
Why'd I say it?
Because are you uncomfortable right now?
I'm in the season of being uncomfortable. I'm good.
Yes. Well, woo, I love wrapping it up like that. So I'm here.
Bye, Mary.
Thanks for listening, Mira. Want to talk more? Find Hamira at Hamira Talks on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to hit that follow button.